Hey guys, Seton HVAC here. Happy Labor Day. So just got a couple little tips and tricks here for you today. One pertaining to refrigeration lines, one about furnace venting systems, and then some cool math stuff for you. You know how I like the math stuff. Stay tuned, guys. It's pretty cool stuff, especially the last one. I like that one. So hope you enjoy it. Okay, guys. So I had a few of you asking me how these little Schrader pieces work. Let's say you got a 3/4 and a 3/8 line, or you know, just your line set roughed in a house sticking out through the house, and they're going to be drywalling, and you won't be coming back to hook this up for a while. You know, like a new construction rough in or a remodel or something. So you want to have a way to put pressure in it, and you want to be able to put a gauge on it. So these little valve stems here brace on, and they are the 8JB A31006 3/8 OD copper tube extension. Now, some guys will just swage this and then put that on, and then they'll crimp that one shut and braze it. I don't like doing that because it may not pressurize the other side if you just do the 3/8. You don't know if you have an electronic expansion valve or an expansion valve that's shut. You know, depending on what the temperature is in the house, it may not bleed that nitrogen through, and I don't like to put all that pressure through those anyway. So what I do is I loop this in and put this in, and I'll show you what that looks like. So hold on a sec. So here's how I like to do them, guys. So if you look at this, so what I did was I just took my channel locks here, and I ovaled out the 3/4. And then that allows you to slide your 3/8 liquid line in there and your stem. And then, you know, you got a little bit of gap there, but not much. And then just braze all that shut. And then you can stick your gauge on there. So I'll put a link to that gauge. I'm kind of running out of ideas on this long Labor Day weekend until I get back out in the field next week. So I'm trying to show you guys some things, trying to answer some questions that I've gotten. So yeah, do that on if you ever have a new construction or remodel job where you're not going to be able to get to your line set. You know, drywallers might hit it with a screw or a nail, framer might hit it with something, cider might hit it with something. You just never know. So you want these pressurized, and then you can put your gauge on there. I'll put a link to that gauge right now, and we'll move on to the next little tip and trick of the day. Okay, guys, next little random trick of the day. So, you know, a lot of the times we have these larger gas furnaces that need to go from 2-inch PVC to 3-inch PVC on their vents, and you know, they make the bell reducers, the PVC reducers that have one flat side so you can do horizontal. These are for if you can put them both on the vertical, and it gives you a nice way to be able to take them apart easy too in the future. Yeah, so they sell these little Fernco 2 to 3s at Home Depot. I stock about 4 to 6 of these, depending on you know, in the middle of winter, depending on how my workload is, and they make it really easy to take your thing apart to clean if you need to change out an inducer, if you just need to clean one out or something, you have pressure switch issues. But go pick yourself up. They're pretty inexpensive. I think they're $8 or something, and nice way to make your transition and give you a place to take it apart. I know some of the manufacturers put those little sleeves in their little gift bags that come with the units, but keep yourself some of these. You may need them sometime. So let's move on to the next thing. Okay, guys, now the final and the coolest little trick of the day that I really like this formula. I know I get into this geeky math stuff a lot, but I really like this one. So let's say you have a roll of copper and you need to know how long it is. I know a lot of how long it is. Now I know a lot of the copper lines, refrigerant lines now are putting the foot lines on them, so you can look at those. But let's say you have a roll, you don't know if you have enough to do the job, and you're worried that you won't. Okay, and I know that, and this only works if you have a roll of copper that's flat rolled, you know, and I get that. But if you have like a 3/4 3/8 line set, or a 5/8 3/8 or something, you know, the 5/8 isn't going to be flat rolled, but your 3/8 usually is. It's usually a flat roll. You know, it's rolled up against itself. It's not on top of itself. This formula will work for that. So if you have a partial of it, usually those match, right? So measure your 3/8 and you'll be able to figure out how much 5/8 or 3/4 you have too. So kind of a cool little trick. So let's take let's say we have a roll, you laid it down, you measured the diameter, and it's 29 inches across, and then the inside diameter where it stops rolling is 6. Well, I can tell you how long this is going to be based off those two numbers. So let me show you the formula. There's your formula. And it's not as complicated as it looks. Now, if you guys remember, in in algebra, we always do the parentheses first, right? So, being that that's going to be a times by, and that's going to be a times by, we just do the parentheses and we'll just times all this together. So what we have is we have pi times whatever this turns out to be. That's your outer diameter squared divided by 4 minus your inner diameter squared divided by 4. Then then you times that by the thickness of your material. So if it's 3/8, you times it by 3/8. 7/8 times it by 7/8, and that'll give you the length of your pipe. So it's all right here, guys. So T, your thickness of your material, D, outside diameter, D, the inside diameter, that inside diameter hole, whatever that is, and then L will be the length of your total material. So let's take these two numbers and put them in there, and let's do the math. Okay guys, let's do some math here, and I think I told you wrong. So on the thickness, you divide it by the thickness, you don't times it by the thickness, because that wouldn't make any sense, right? Why would you divide it by the thickness? You're going to get a crazy number. So let's do this again. Let's do this the proper way. So we got our formula here, our pi, 22/7, times our outside diameter, which is that 29, which is the D, right? Outside diameter, 29 squared divided by 4 minus our inside diameter, 6 squared divided by 4, and then it'll be divided by 3/8 because that's the thickness of our material. So then you take that pi and you times it by 210.25, which is what 29 squared divided by 4 comes out to, minus 9, which is our 6 squared, which is 36 divided by 4 equals 9, and divide it by our 3/8, okay? So then you got your pi times 201.25, because 210.25 minus 9 is 201.25, and you always put divide it by 1 because it's a known number, right? Because you got to have something to multiply these two just for algebraic reasons. And then you got your 3/8 there. So let's do the math. Let's see what we come up with here. All right, guys, the math don't lie. So we stopped here, I believe. So if you times your 22 by 201.25, it gives you 4427.5 inches divided by 7 inches. Gives you 632.5 inches, and then we have to divide that by 3/8, okay? So that gives us, and we convert that to the decimals so we can divide it. So 632.5 divided by 0.375 equals, I ran out of room there, 1,686.66 inches, which converts to 140.55 feet. So if we have a roll of 3/8 that's rolled, against itself, not on top of itself, that's 29 inches wide and 6 inches inside diameter hole where it stops, where the roll began, we would have 140-ish feet. And it's not going to be completely perfect because it's not rolled perfectly. But let's say you have a job where you need 100 feet and you're like, shoot, is there 100 feet on that roll? You can do this math and you'll know if you have it. Let's convert this to 7/8. Let's see what that comes up with. So picture yourself a 29-inch roll with 6 inches in the middle on 7/8. What would you guess that would be just off the top of your head? Let's do the math. All right, assuming the same math, we just put 7/8 in the place of 3/8. Gives you your 6325 divided by 0.875, because 7/8 fraction converts to a decimal of a number of 0.875. So that's 722.85 inches, and that converts to, if you divide that by 12, 60.23 feet. So roughly 60 feet of 7/8 is going to be about the same width as 140 feet of 3/8, which makes a lot of sense because you figure 3/8 is 3/7. If you did the math on that, 140 to 60, how that converts from 7/8 to 3/8 is about the same formula there. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Take a look at that. If you're ever at a pinch and you need to know how much, what I'll do for you is I'll put that formula down here again, and as long as you know that, and then I'll leave that up there so you know what to convert each one to. So let's do that real quick once, and we'll be done for today. Okay, guys, in closing here, so there's your formula: pi times your outside diameter squared divided by 4 minus your inside diameter squared divided by 4. You do that math first, so then you'll times that by pi and divide it by your thickness of your material, whether it be 3/8, 7/8, whatever, and that'll give you the length of your line. So hopefully that all makes sense, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys out in the field this week.